have Morgan. Did you say it?
Yes, I did say that.
Cool.
Ooh. I was shocked to hear that he was ready to just pass me around like an object. It really made.
Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Listen, we're talking to you guys about Lyndon and Morgan's connection. It's dangerous out here. You know why it's dangerous? Because Lyndon is also somebody Morgan shouldn't date. And if you want to know why, stick with this video and I'll break it down to you why Lyndon definitely can't be somebody that Morgan dates either. If you're new to the channel, make sure you like it, you share, you subscribe, you click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what the motto is, baby. You got the minerals. You got the minerals. Stay hydrated. All right, listen, let's get into it. Why do I believe that Morgan can't date Lyndon? Well, simple fact is number one, numero, is that if he can use you as collateral damage and not care about how you would feel by releasing a piece of information to the general public, then he doesn't care about you enough. Let me repeat this. If someone can use you as collateral damage, then they can do anything in the public, just say anything, just to win the battle against another man. Darling, that's not a person you date. You understand what I'm saying to you? That's not a person you date either. Now, the extra part of this is, and I'll go deep into the collateral damage when I show you a clip. In fact, the clip that we just saw there was collateral damage. But there's a bigger issue with Lyndon that we need to talk about, right? It's called white knighting, and we'll get to that in a second. But the collateral damage, how can it be a case of you thinking you're doing someone a favor when you threw that person underneath the bus and ran them over just to get to the other side? Just to have a one up on the opponent that you supposedly aren't. So I mean, that person have a one up on the opponent who's coming at you, who says they love, who likes the girl, as well, right? And as he said himself, this was becoming a bulls fest, and you're trying to see whose penai, okay, whose penai is bigger than the other. You know what I'm saying? Whoever's delash is bigger than the other, and that's a problem. But that speaks to arrogance, and that speaks to pride, and that speaks to ego as well that he has as well. It just looks less, right? Let's not forget his whole conversation he had before this was with Morgan and his best friend. And his best friend said a red flag the size of a football field. So why would he continue to progress? A red flag the size of a football field? Now, if that's the size of the red flag, then guess what I feel like Lyndon's here for? Trolling. But the thing is, the trolling went so far that he used Morgan as collateral damage. Let's go to a clip.
Made me start to look at him different.
It was a moment of me being angry at the situation.
You weren't angry. You were just being casual.
No, you don't.
See, of course, it's a checkmate in this moment. He's thrown out the ultimate line and the ultimate bar that highlights how bad Tony is and how much he doesn't care for Morgan. So I totally get it. But the reality is he did it in the public sphere of the table amongst around peers. This is embarrassing, right? This is degrading, okay? This is disgusting because now both of you are having your fling about and ignoring the fact that she's even there, fighting over her like she's a piece of meat, last meat on the table, like she's the last meat in the pot, right? And she's having to say, hello, I'm still here, guys. Now, no matter what I feel about Morgan and Near case, it means nothing. The behavior here exhibited by these two is concerning. You know, Tony had it in for Linda for quite a long time. He's been coming at Linda for a long time. And not only that, Tony had a go at her ex previously as well. Tony's got an issue with anybody that he feels is going to be some type of competition for him. He has to start degrading and disrespecting them. I don't know what he's gone through, but it's giving, you got to disrespect everybody to show that you're a top dog. This is giving a false sense of confidence. This is giving a bravado. And this is a false sense of a surety that he concerns. Now, back onto Lyndon. Why do I think it's concerning? Also that, I want you to listen to this next part I'm going to bring to you as well. I want you to listen to this. I want to see what you think of this, guys.
The main question.
I'm right here.
Tony told me what he told me off the camera in confidence. It wasn't my plan in the beginning.
Now let's pause it here. You said Tony told you this in confidence off camera. So for you to take something in confidence off camera and bring it to the foreground just because you wanted to beat him, just because you wanted to show him up, because remember, you started this line of inquiry. He didn't start it. You did. Now, don't get it twisted. Tony's been moving mad all day, but you decided to bring your line of inquiry in this particular manner. You asked him about Marcia. You asked if Marcia was here. You were setting him up, right? Because you know him, right? This is bronze versus intelligence. He saw that the big ass muscles are easily triggered. Okay, all right, and he triggered him purposely, and it worked to treat. The only problem was that again he used Morgan as collateral damage in the whole of the scenario. Now he says quite clearly here, all right, you're gonna listen to this part here where he talks about
Of the day to let Morgan know what was going on. But then I thought about it, watching him manipulate Morgan throughout.
Let's pause right there. So you were watching him manipulate Morgan all day. Now, don't get it twisted. I think Tony's a very possessive man. And yes, I think he threw a few tantrums, which could be classed as manipulation. But sir, you are not outside that bracket either. And that's why I called him more dangerous than Tony. Tony's overt, but Lyndon is covert. And I'll tell you, because you watched her get manipulated by Tony all day, but didn't pull her aside and say, hey, look, this is my thoughts. These are my real thoughts, right? You watched her all day, but you tried to passively, aggressively position yourself next to her physically every chance you got, right? We saw you on a boat. We saw you in the house. We saw you in the table. Like you were doing your utmost best to be around her, right? As a counter move to Tony, right? You were having a secret battle and war with Tony behind the scenes that Morgan wasn't necessarily aware of. She's thinking it's your natural interest, but she noticed that you were on her like sticky rice. Oh no, she noticed. She noticed that you were on her like sticky white rice, and I'll show you that clip in a second or two. But I want to continue this vein of fashion of conversation.
Today made me realize he's trying to manipulate everybody. If Marcia was here, who would you choose?
I just chose you.
Who is Tony trying to manipulate everyone? Who manipulate everyone where? It's just Morgan. So are you sure you're talking about Tony, or you're not projecting in this moment? Because what is the need to talk about? Where's the evidence of him trying to manipulate everybody? No, manipulate Morgan, yes, but everybody? What? Why? What do you mean? You mean, oh, he's not being totally honest about who his number one, number two was? I don't think any of the guys probably were all the way honest about who the number one and two is really and truly. Yeah, so it doesn't really make a difference. What is it that you have seen that makes you think he's trying to manipulate everybody? Oh, do you mean just you and Morgan? That's what you really meant. You included you in the he's manipulating everybody, not them. So you took it upon yourself to white knight and show everybody just how bad Tony is. The problem is when you throw mud gets stuck on you too. You can't throw mud and it not splatter back on you, right? So you become part of the problem as well. I'm not saying you can't call out stuff. I'm saying the fact that you went about it the way you did shows me that you trying to put yourself on a pedestal, that you're trying to save Morgan from what? When you put her in the firing line. You ain't no better than Tony. You see, sometimes we have these things where, and I remember that I told you this back in the day, I was one of the nice guys who used to see some of the guys treat these girls so badly, and I would feel so bad for these girls. I'd want to help them. I'd want to be able to share knowledge and say, hey, get your stuff together. But I quickly realized I'm no better. I'm a dream seller just like they are. You just don't have the kahunas and the balls to do what they're doing, and you're crying about it because, quote unquote, you're a nice guy. You're not a good guy. You're a nice guy, meaning your kindness is fake. You know what I mean? Like you're timid, and you don't tell people what you really feel and what you think. You guys are underneath, I really care about other people's feelings, but the problem is you don't really care enough about your own to be able to say exactly what you feel. You're passive aggressive. And this is the white knight trying to save people, but in reality, you are the problem too. You blew Morgan out the water on that table. All the way. So again, who is everybody he's talking about? All right. Who is the everybody that he's talking about? Let's listen a bit more.
I answered your question.
Right
I
now
your
you
question.
answered it.
His feelings hurt.
Tony, Lyndon.
We can step outside and be a fan. Because guess what? I'm all man.
So this situation has now escalated to another point. All right, you escalated it to another point. So for me, I don't get the manipulation of everybody when you know that you were manipulating the situation in this moment by asking questions that were intentional to try and get the conversation to go a particular direction so that you could out him. And by outing him, you might be saving Morgan. You ain't saving her because she don't want you still. That's the reality. She still wants Tony, which is why next week we see on the next week's previews that she says, you know, I got to give Tony a chance, right? Let me tell you something. Lyndon is more dangerous than Tony because what Morgan thinks of him being thinks he's a good guy, he's a nice guy. And when she thinks that she's got the upper hand, I can guarantee you Lyndon will outclass her. See, with Tony, he's natural brute, right? He's force, he's might. You see it coming. You can deal with it, Morgan. You know how she tries to soothe you. You notice how her voice changes? And I'll do that in another video. She tries to soothe the bear. But with Lyndon, she's going to think that he's not so dangerous. And he's the most dangerous out of the two because you won't see the punch coming. And he will outsmart you and outclass you and show you that you can't mess with him. It's going to be another near gate situation, right? Because Morgan's going to her nervous system's going to go all janky from dating him, thinking that he's got upper hand over her. She ain't going to have it, right? It's going to end in tears. This is not the right relationship for him. So yes, when I saw him, the fact that he used her for collateral damage and then tried to white knight it, I said, I was trying to help her and try and save her. Cut the bull crap. You are just in the same league as Tony. You ain't no different, right? You ain't no different. You got under Tony's skin knowing that because you weren't even really fully invested in Morgan because you already knew about the red flag situation, you just use this as a way to get at him, you know, and to grind his gears a little bit as well. There ain't no difference. So make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notification uploads as well. And don't forget as well, I'll let you guys know, I keep forgetting to promote it. When we do our live shows, you know, our live shows on YouTube, we have another YouTube called LBB91 Daily, where we can you can chop it up and find the daily videos that we release, which will be just extracts of what we've already done on YouTube. So anytime we do a super panel or anything like that, the cut out parts, we put it in that space for you guys as well. So listen, look, it's a real thing right now, you know, it's a real thing right now. Guys, I appreciate you, and we're going to see you again soon. All right. Much appreciation. Stay locked, stay loaded. We'll see you again tomorrow night as well. Much love.